VIR is a venue of multiple lives and reputations. Opening in the late 1950s, it was massively popular for almost 2 decades. It then fell dormant, reverting to farmland and seemed lost to the racing community. But it reopened in 2000, inspiring the now numerous motorsports resorts. Some drivers felt the track was the ultimate challenge, with the legendary Carroll Shelby saying 1 lap at VIR is like 100 at Watkins Glen. Other drivers thought the venue was nirvana. As Paul Newman once said, if there really is a heaven on earth, it must be VIR. So began the august history of this venue, one as daunting as it is beautiful, requiring a breathtaking combination of fearless commitment and exacting precision. Tonight, this motorsports playground hosts the first ever visit of the new Full-Send Sims Esports iRacing Spec MX-5 championship cars. Hi folks, I'm Greg Kramer and welcome to round 12 of 15. As always, it's wonderful to have Kyle Heyer joining me tonight. And Kyle, if ever there was a track that combined sheer beauty with sheer bravado, this is probably it.
Oh, I love this place. I got to go here for the first time in 2023. Everyone told me this is one of the greatest racetracks in North America. Having driven in the simulator, it really didn't do what I thought it did. So when I got to the racetrack for the first time, I was like, wow, okay, I see why people love this place so much. It's so fast, it's so flowing, it's so treacherous, especially in the wet. But the weather today here at iRacing is absolutely gorgeous. A little bit cloudy, though, you see off in the distance there. 85-degree track temp. And looking a little moody, but it's gorgeous here, Greg. So excited to get 2 of our races underway.
Yeah, this is just an incredibly beautiful venue. You know, we've talked about it before. The run as you come under the bridge and through the lower S's, and then when you get to the climbing S's, this is the lower S's, up through here, tails away in particular with the villas in the background when the sun's right. This place is just spectacular. I think it's one of the prettiest of venues that you're ever going to find. And we've talked about this before. This track, as you look, there's no real runoff. There's not even any kind of a verge. It's all grass, and most of when you go off, it all falls away from you. So you have to drive this place, as I said, with just amazing precision to not have any issues. And in these cars, Kyle, with the more responsive we've seen, the little higher speeds, like my 2 commitment meters here at the exit at turn 10, where if you don't take it right to that exit curb, you're going slow. But if you overstep it, that one in the background, if you overstep it, you can see all that dirt and you just go off and then you slide forever. The other one being, I think, probably the exit of 17, because you've got to get that weird corner sort of format done right. You turn in on commitment there, you're off camber, pick it up there. But if you misjudge, again, you see all that dirt spot there, you go off there and you slide downhill for a long ways. This track is just special, and it's really like 3 different tracks linked, isn't it? It's
3 long straightaways, a couple of hairpins there, here and there, but there's so much flow. The elevation brings such a different dynamic to it as well, especially that last section from roller coaster through hog pen. Super single file. You don't see a lot of multi-class racing at the highest levels of motorsport here now, because that particular area is so challenging, thinking things like the WeatherTech Championship, of course. But tonight, just all single class. We're on this racetrack with the 26 SMX cars here, Greg, and we're getting close to the end of the championship as well, and things are absolutely heating up.
Well, that's a really good point. Nicholas Rice-Puto still leads. His lead margin over the last 3 races went from 30 points to 16, now 18. So there's, it's this roller coaster at the top of the championship as this track is. Benjamin Forster still sitting second. Camden Hibbett has trimmed that only 9 points adrift of Forster, 27 back of Rice-Puto. Remember, it's 25 a race with this race and 2 more to go. So there's a ton of points still left. So any massive issue for anybody, could be a change. Josh Soto has fought his way back up into 4th after dropping back into 5th. Skip Brock's still there, and Morgan Burkhardt, coming off a sweep of Summit Point, is jumped up into 6th, advancing 4 spots. So he's definitely making a great charge here. But it's just been fascinating what we've been seeing in terms of this championship. And Rice-Puto and Forster, they've been able to stay at the sharp end for a bit.
I was just looking around. I've been away for a little while, and I can't tell. It doesn't look like it, but iRacing is working on 3D curbs for this racetrack. I don't know that they were in this update, but they looked a little different, so I wanted to kind of poke around and see if I could tell.
Okay.
But it doesn't appear to be the case. Let's pause on corner X. Well, let's back this up. I want to see if.
Sure.
No, it doesn't look like
No,
like
not quite yet.
It's man, their textures are so convincing. it's hard to tell.
True.
But
Yeah,
anyway, a lot of curbing and rumble strip here that you're just going to run wide over, especially at the exit of NASCAR like we saw there with Morgan Burkhardt, who sits on pole here with only about 3 minutes left in qualifying. Morgan Burkhardt's 6th in the standings. He's missed a whole bunch of races, but he has clawed his way up near the top 5, though he's got a little ways to go if he still wants to win this championship.
Yeah, it's he and Camden Hibbett are the two guys with the most wins, as you said, at 6. He's 157 points back from Rice Pudo right now, but as we said, there's a lot of points left to go. This is round 12. This is 13, right?
Yep.
So 13, 14, 15. So that's 50. Well, he cannot win the championship, can he?
Yeah, mathematically too far back. He's given us a great perspective on board tonight, though, Greg. You're going to like this one.
Oh, awesome.
Pedal cam.
Look at that.
No lift shift.
This will be fun to watch, yeah, how he's doing that. That's pretty cool.
Let's watch him up into roller coaster here. He's going to go down a couple of gears. Love the heel toe there.
Traffic.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's so cool to watch. That's properly done heel toe as well.
You bet.
So great work there for Morgan Burkhardt, giving us that look on board. But Olivier Piatek, strong run here tonight in qualifying, sitting in pit lane at the moment. But he's given us an onboard perspective here as well. So we'll check in. Here's Olivier just sitting in the pit box waiting for the session to wind on down. But he seems pretty content with what he's run so far.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen much of him at all this year. I'm trying to look here. I'm not sure he's actually run with us. No, he has not yet this year in these cars. He's always been wicked quick in the SM category, so not a surprise to see him doing well, but doing really well up there in that 2nd spot. Skip Brock 3rd. Jeremy Fletcher, I'll tell you, looking at his numbers, Kyle, if he'd been running more, this is only going to be his 3rd round with us. But the guy has just been absolutely phenomenal when he's been here, and has been a real thorn in the side to some of the other competitors out there. And it's just fun to watch him run. There's no question about that. And, Burkhardt, I thought at the last event that he got a little bit too racy, particularly with his teammate Camden Hibbett. Camden was, as always, very, very diplomatic, let's say. But I just thought what Burkhardt did a couple of times was totally unnecessary, especially with the teammate going for a championship. Now that he's officially out of it, I wonder if he will just, obviously if he's got a chance to win, he's going to, but if he'll just do things a little cleaner this time, and if he's in a position to help Camden, to see if he'll do that little more of a wingman kind of role.
Why not, right? Deacon Greenfield,
yeah.
We just got to look at there. Also should note that Nicholas Rice Pudo only 11th quick, so the championship leader's got some work to do. Needs to pass half the field to win here today. They redid the trees here at VIR, Greg, a couple of weeks ago, and man, they look really good. I haven't seen this track since they did it. But anyway.
Yeah, they look sharp.
Rice Pudo and Forster both didn't really qualify all that well. Beans Forster only P9, so those drivers will have a lot of work to do here. This is a fun racetrack to race on, but it can also be pretty treacherous in some places if you don't get the job done. If you see side-by-side in those climbing S's down into Oak Tree through South Bend or even up at Roller Coaster, it's very easy to go off. And then the other thing is your best passing opportunity at the end of the race, if you can't wait until the front straight, is that run into Roller Coaster where you're on the brakes going down 3 gears and cresting a hill. So that's a combination for disaster almost all the time.
Yeah, and actually they have a new development here too. This is a track where we frequently have seen pretty big wrecks on the opening lap in turn 1. And I was talking earlier with our chief steward, Andrew, and he said the committee made a decision that I think it was if there's more than 5 cars involved in an incident at the sharp end of the field that has a huge effect, we're going full course yellow and let everybody regroup so that the front runners, innocent bystanders aren't maybe taken out of a championship or whatever. So, or as fully. So kind of a new thing to watch for it. Let's hope it doesn't have to come into play, of course.
Yeah, and actually I had my first experience in a long time with road racing yellows here in iRacing last weekend in the Toyota GR Cup North America Esports Championship. We leave the yellow flags on, the automatic yellows. They never trigger. I've never seen that happen in 7 years. There's no, like the trigger threshold is high enough that they never actually happen. You have to force them on like as
really?
an administrator.
That's interesting.
So when you say throw a yellow, it'll be the administrator doing that, but they can be triggered in iRacing because I saw one at Sonoma last week and I was blown away. It was a nasty track blocking wreck, but I just had never seen that, so that was something new.
And it was an iRacing triggered one.
Yep.
Wow.
It was new to me.
That is unique.
So anyway,
all right.
Let's have another look at the weather here. It's got a little bit sunnier, 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 88 track temp. That'll continue to go up. Breezy as well, 15-mile-an-hour winds, Greg, but field's rolling off. I think we should go through that starting lineup. What do you think?
I think let's do that. There it is. You can see Morgan Burkhardt, yet another pole, and if I'm taking a look at his numbers in that category, 7th pole on the year in his number 67 with Olivier Piatek in his first race with us in this SMX category, outside front row, skip block. Great qualifying effort in 3rd. He's been lit lately. Jeremy Fletcher, as I had talked about, Kyle, always a major factor whenever he shows up in his 69. Camden Hibbett sitting a close 3rd in the points, starts 5th. Josh Soto starts in the 6th spot, 4th in the points. Hayden Manis, who's been having a great season, was really impressive at Summit in qualifying, 7th. Michael Brock, who's been really impressive when he showed up in his 421, starts 8th. 9th. A great effort by Beans. Well, for Beans, that's not a great effort. He needs to qualify higher. Elliot Burton, a solid top 10 qualifying effort, Kyle.
Yeah, Nicholas Rice-Buda, points leader, starts 11th, and he has got 18 points between himself and Beans, so it's going to be the battle of who can pass the most cars today. Dylan Lee rolls off 12th, then Wan Shi Lin and Ian Anderson share that 7th row, 13th and 14th place. Then it's Jack Murchison in the number 25, rolls off 15th place. Deacon Greenfield starts 16th in the number 20. Then it's Jake Sneddon in 17th in the number 11. That's a new name to us here tonight. Bob Mueller Jr. starts 18th in the 60. That leaves Daniel Higgins and Court Schmidt. Glad to have him back again this week. He rolls off 20th, Greg, in that 33.
Absolutely, and then taking a look at the rest of the field, starting 21st in the 89, our friend Jim Friedhofer, Jose De Las Casas in the Barbie 717. Then Les Chacek back. We haven't seen him for quite a while. Starts in the 23rd spot, along with Giancarlo Schooler. Man, is he far back in the field. I wonder if he had a problem in qualifying. Trace Hance starts 25th. Skylar Cottrell back. I don't know that we've seen him before either. Starts 26th. And got a big field here tonight, which is kind of nice.
And that is all 26 cars, but yeah, you're right. There's a handful of new names that we have yet to have seen. So that creates an interesting dynamic.
Jake Sneddon ran last week and was impressively fast. Struggling a little bit more here, but remember, it's Summit Point, that free track, one of the first that these guys get. Jake was wicked good there. I mean, he was top 5 contender there in his first ever race up from SM. But he's a little bit farther back in the field now. But I wouldn't be surprised to, as he kind of gets his feet underneath him at this track, see him move up a bit.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do from 17th place. Look at the size of that field coming up over the Madison Avenue straightaway here. And
it is pretty, isn't it?
It is. And Olivier Piatek, I don't know that he's changed numbers, doesn't have a livery on the car, so kind of changing things up here a little bit this season. We'll see.
He seems to be liking this new SMX.
Yeah, maybe this is the change that he needed. Again, a lot of drivers didn't really click with the way that the SM was set up here in iRacing, but the SMX seems to be clicking a lot more with some of these drivers than others. And pace cars down the hill, it's 2 25-minute races. 220s? 225s. Man, I'm
20s.
Rusty out here.
20s, yeah.
I did 220s last week. Anyway, time to go racing here at VIR, Greg.
It is, and it's a long way up to the start stand, and another big instruction was pole sitter cannot accelerate. Has to keep this speed until the green comes out. Look at how long that run is. And Piatek, he's going to want to make something happen. We're green. Piatek, always one of the great starters whenever he's run with us. And look at him timing it nicely, and you can make an outside move here. And he got almost a full head car. And there's an incident in the back, but only one car at this point anyway. The two. That's too bad for Dylan. Other cars, now we got a bunch involved.
Yeah, Ian Anderson's in there. Skylar Cottrell at the backcourt. Schmidt is in there as well. We'll look at that one a little later once things sort out. The leaders are into turn 4 already. Morgan Burkhardt leads, then it's Fletcher, who's up a couple spots here from the start. Where did...
he is.
Oh, Piatek was one of the ones that is out.
Oh, my goodness.
So let's go back and look at that now.
We didn't really see what happened to him, did we?
No, we didn't. And let's go back and see what happened, because we were focused on the wreck in the back, but there was one up at the front too. And Piatek here on the outside. Oh, he had an issue, an internet-related issue. And that's what took him out.
Oh my God, he's got to be gutted.
Yeah,
after that qualifying run.
Awful timing, I have to say.
Oh, just horrible. And that leaves Morgan with a little bit of a margin over Fletcher, with Brock third, Hibbett sitting in the 4th spot, and Soto 5th right now. It's your top 5 as they come whistling through here. And now this is that long run down the back straight they like to call Madison Avenue. And it climbs and then drops, then climbs a little bit, and then you fall into the roller coaster section. Big draft happening here. And look at this move. Here comes Hibbett taking a peek at Brock.
Yeah, down the hill here, and you see Skip Brock Jr. already chasing the car a little bit through this section. This is one of those places, if you get one corner wrong, you get 5 of them wrong. You have to be on line, hit this curb right, get into the compression. If you miss it, you're off in the weeds. Onto the front stretch, very single file, because those spins in Calamity at turn 1 kind of stretch the field out.
Yeah, exactly. And I love what, your line there reminds me of the old, you get behind in your steering.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong going in. And look at this move, an outside, then feint to the inside. Brock trying to cover it, but Hibbett had position. Brock showing some sportsmanship. You love that. Just opened the wheel up, said you had overlap. And Hibbett slides through. Man, he needed that. And Wither, at this point, Rice Puto has worked his way up into 8th. And Forster into 7th. There he is. There's Rice Puto. So not massive gains in that opening lap, but against this field, some pretty good gains.
Yeah, certainly. I think this is one of those racetracks where you can kind of, you're not going to gain 10 spots all at once. You can kind of chip away at it, climb yourself up the order one corner at a time. Les Chachik's gone off at turn 4. Let's see how this one happened.
Yeah. Like I said, he hasn't been with.
Pop Muller, I think, in the 16th.
That was Chachik left that opening pretty wide there. Oh, look at this. Fletcher is working on trying to get by on Morgan. Hibbett right there as well. Fletcher has position. Hibbett's going to come up and now decide. Boy, look at this. Choosing your partner here. As somebody said recently, it's all about alliances, man.
Yeah. and
Fletcher wide there, but what a move.
Yeah, Burkhardt, great defense there, but Captain Hibbett trying to get by Fletcher has opened the door for Skip Brock Jr. to draft with Fletcher past Camden Hibbett. So once the attacker is now the attackee.
Yeah, and I mean, you were talking about, this long straight and the draft opportunity. You get to the wrong end of it, you can be freight trained a bit, and that's what's happening here. And look at this, with the help of Brock, potential move by Fletcher into the roller coaster. Side by side here. And this is going to help Burkhardt if they don't straighten it out here. And Hibbett did get frozen a bit on the outside. Now it's Brock who's got nowhere to go and knifes back in front of Hibbett. That was close.
That was really tight. Margins are close to that whole section.
Yes.
And Josh Soto got a great look out the windshield at all of it. He started in 6th. He's up 1 spot. Everyone now cheating over to the right because they're trying to prevent people sneaking by on the inside lane, as we saw Camden Hibbett try to do last time around.
Oh, man, look at this. 3 abreast, almost 4 abreast down this wide front straight into this incredibly inviting and long corner. Oh, there's the 25 having a bit of an off there.
Yep, Jack Murchison.
Jack Murchison, yeah.
And Fletcher's really good at this first sector. That's how he got himself alongside Burkhardt last time. He's going to go to the lead here at NASCAR. Forces Burkhardt to jump on the brakes, and here comes Brock Jr.
And Brock, you can make this work at left hook, and he's coming in with a big head of steam. Morgan just willed himself around the outside. That got Brock offline. And here comes Hibbett once again, but Brock not going to make that easy. Side by side through the snake, and they made it work, Kyle. You don't see that every day.
Let's try side by side through the climbing S's. That's equally as hard. I don't care if you're in a Corvette or if you're in an MX-5. It's going to be tough to do that without contact. And Rice Pudo is one of those that's door-to-door with Hayden Manis.
Yeah, Hayden got floated out a little bit wide, but carried a lot of speed, and that was impressive. I thought he was on the cusp of going off, and actually not only held the position, but briefly had a bit of a gap. Oh, look at this. Oh, airborne. That was the 110.
Schooler.
Schooler. Man, he's making up some big ground from where he qualified.
He is, but
watch this. Oh,
climbed
that
up.
Didn't hurt him.
Yeah, it should be okay. It was wheel-to-wheel contact, but climbed up on the quarter panel there, and now Brock Jr. and Camden Hibbett are back side by side.
And Fletcher has that lead. Morgan is looking, and nowhere for him to go. And Brock's going to try and force the issue. He and Camden again side by side down through the roller coaster. That's going to go to Hibbett. But, yeah, just what a run for Giancarlo Schooler here. I mean, he started, what, 20th?
Well, you're right. He did start pretty far back. He had a little bit of assistance from those cars that had the off.
23rd. Yeah, he did, but
still. Whoa. Little hip and shoulder there between these front two.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know whether Morgan lost sight of Fletcher. Because Fletcher's there, he's got position. You know, Morgan's going to try and do the outside roundabout. Couldn't quite get it done. Hibbett watching. Morgan's got a little overlap on Fletcher, but not enough. Now what he's going to try and do is get Fletcher offline here and dive into the left hook. And Fletcher just drove that really, really well.
Yeah, Soto and Manis side by side back here for about 6th spot. I also saw Michael Brock had an issue a moment ago, so he's down on pit lane. But Soto,
you know what, Beans?
That's really tight back there between him and Lynn.
Yeah, it really is. And Beans has done a great job moving up into 5th already. Here he is, and there's that little bit of a break now back to Manis.
Look at that heart rate.
Yeah.
He's got a helmet on tonight, too.
He does. Is he, yeah, I'm wondering what that is, if there's something in the head, if there's like headsets in the helmet.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
Driving without sound would be really hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say. All right, here we go once again. It's gonna be, there's time, but Manis and Rice Pudo, they've got to really work together here. And you can see right now Morgan Burkhardt is just pushing Fletcher, trying to open up a little bit of a gap. But those three behind them, Hibbett, Brock, Forrester, are going to have none of that. In fact, Hibbett has said, all right, I'm going to try and get you here.
Yeah, he's going to start poking holes now. But a little contact there between himself and Burkhardt. It's going to put him offline. No one's really been able to take the fight to the front, too. They've had moments, but nothing lasting. And this is a great example of that. Now they go back to battling each other.
Yeah. And again, you know, keep in mind now that neither of these guys up front are in the championship. So at, you know, worst, I mean, they'll be, if they go 1-2, they'll be stealing points. But we got to keep a close eye. I mean, here are 3 of our main championship contenders in the top 5. And it's only down to 5th now where everybody is still in it. So this is really important. And Rice Pudo cannot figure out a way to get around Hayden. But those two have worked well enough, and with all of that side-by-side in front of them, they're closing in on the back of this group. And here comes Hibbett again down to the inside of Skip Rock. And he got that curve, didn't he?
Yeah, used him up a little bit, but sometimes you have to do that just to make sure that you can clear him. But off into the lower S's now. Skip Rock Jr. back to 4th. And you're right about Rice Pudo. He's sort of been stuck here. So what's the urgency? Is he going to push himself forward now to get by Hayden Manis? He's got 10 minutes. It's only about 5 laps worth of time here. A little bit less than that, I think, even. So I think you got to start making your move forward if you can only get 1 or 2 cars a lap. This is getting frisky up here, these two.
Yes, it is. And you can see with all of that dicing, every time we see Hibbett and Brock go side by side, these two are just grinning in their mirrors and have opened up that little bit of a gap. Now, Hibbett, we know he can close up things in a hurry here, but he doesn't have any help right now, and he needs Brock to get up there. Or is Hibbett close enough to get? Well, he certainly would be if these two guys go side by side, but they're not going to make that mistake, I don't think.
Yeah, he's half a second back, and he is getting a little draft, but it's only giving him about a mile or two an hour more than those front two because they're so close. Now here comes Beans on Skip Brock Jr. That's for 4th into roller coaster.
And that's a big move if Beans can make it work. Skip got in really hot. But there's just nothing Beans could do with it at that point.
Yeah, it's going to jam up that group, though. Those 5 cars have lost a couple car lengths to the front 3. But you know what? I'll be honest, it's been a little less volatile up here than I thought. As I say that, we've got a battle for the lead, but there hasn't been quite as much the draft party as I think we were expecting on Madison Avenue there.
I agree. It's been pretty chill, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And Fletcher right now going way outside. And Hibbett trying to, he's the closest one, so I'm going to try and get a draft on him. And then dives down to the inside. Oh, and he couldn't quite keep that overlap there. But again, that little bit of battling is giving it. Look at Manis making a big, aggressive move down inside of Beans. Oh, and a touch and Beans is off. And look at Soto coming through as a result. He jumps up a spot. That's big in terms of the championship. I think Beans is going to be annoyed at that because he gave him room. And Hayden, it was an aggressive pass, but he just went all the way to that outside curb and whacked him.
Yeah, and it just kind of knocked him off sideways, and Beans was luckily able to keep it straight, but you're right, for the championship, he had the advantage over the championship leader. Now he's 2 spots behind, so now he's losing.
Exactly.
And you don't have that many. Whoa, there's one car way off in the background. That's Deacon Greenfield, and he's in the wall.
That was massive. Something happened there.
I think this is something was broken or wrong for sure.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe he had something come apart in his sim.
Yeah. Wow.
It just never turned. Look at this ride. Oh.
That's no fun.
No, but that proves our point about when you go off here, it's all downhill from there, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. And now the front 3, Kevin Hibbett's caught Jeremy Fletcher. There's still a little gap back to Skip Brock, but really this is a 6-car race back to Nicholas Rice-Puto.
Yeah, it sure is. And Beans is duking it out here with Forster for that 7th spot, which could be important here. But yeah, the battle right now is here. And boy, Fletcher using those curbs big time. You have to, on some of these corners.
Yeah, they're fairly consistent and flat relative to other places on the North American calendar, but they're rough.
True.
So they can send you for a ride if you don't land on them just right. Look at Hibbett, big run here. Is he going to do anything with it? I don't think he's got enough time to really mess around with Fletcher a whole lot.
Nope, and he's now, and look at this. Big side by side. Look at Jake Snedden. I told you he might show something here, and yes, he got through that incident, but what a run again for Jake. He is absolutely cruising here.
Yep, and Juan Shi goes a little wide at the exit of NASCAR, but carried good speed enough. Whoa, and someone just jumped. It was Schooler again.
Oh, that's twice he's caught air. This one looks like it may have broken something.
Yeah, how many more Tony Hawk Skater Pro moves do you need to do to an MX-5, but just kind of got squeezed a little bit, then wheel-to-wheel contact. I have not seen these cars do it that much. I don't know what's going on with these as of late, but
yeah, it's great. Well, you got the front end of the front tires.
Yep.
There's that little bit where it's exposed, and if you just catch the side of that rear tire, I guess that's might be doing it here. But for Giancarlo Schooler, he's been what a start, what a run he's had, and looked like he had some speed. And, he was setting himself up to be in a really nice position for a start from the second race, and that's all gone awry.
Yeah.
So what do you think here? Is Hibbett, knowing that Morgan's not in the championship and that, he's got Brock behind him, but then he's got Manis, then Rice-Puto, how hard is he going to try and force his way through on Fletcher here?
I think Fletcher might be an ally for him here a little, because we know Fletcher's not going to sit behind Morgan, so he knows at some point those two are going to get door to door. And I think Camden Hibbett just has to figure out what happens when that happens.
Yeah.
I would say you get them side by side, you line them up to try to pass them both at once.
Oh, yeah. And I agree with you if Fletcher can get to Morgan. But
Right.
Morgan, every once in a while, he has this interesting little habit of just driving away. And, you know, what Hibbett and Fletcher have to do is resist the urge for another lap or so to fight. They've just got to
Right.
get to him, right?
Yep. And I
Look at
think
what Morgan's doing here.
yeah, he's starting to put some distance on him. Just ran a lap that was actually better than his fastest lap of the race, but it had an off track, so it didn't count. And Hibbett ran faster than that, though. It was a 2:10.388. He's going to jump up the inside of Fletcher and take P2 away. So that answers that question.
Well, and that didn't really hurt Hibbett much, did it? He ran that really quick inside line. Fletcher was the one, you know, caught on the outside. So now it's just going to be a matter of can Hibbett with Fletcher pushing get up to that rear deck. And as I say that, Fletcher gets out of shape, and now Skip Brock comes up along the outside. Hayden Manis going to try and do it too. So tough sometimes in there because you've got to just be aware there might be a car alongside you there. That's
Yeah, now climbing the S's here. Camden Hibbett has separated himself from all the other drivers that were battling Fletcher. So just a half a second between him and Burkhardt, and they're all by themselves otherwise, Greg. So that's kind of dream scenario for Camden. He's pushing now. See him in the grass at the exit of the South Bend.
Yeah, he's giving it everything he can, but he has glommed onto the back. And going back real quickly to what I was saying, and before I dropped out about Giancarlo Schooler there, I think that was Snedden. That was a rookie mistake at this level, just not realizing that a lot of times at this level, you're going to have guys that you think you've passed and they're not done. They're alongside.
Yep.
And you just can't drift over on them. Just awareness and a little bit of racecraft. He'll figure it out. But boy, this battle up at the front's getting tasty, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and so is the one for third. Side by side into roller coaster. Manis on the outside. He's looking for a podium spot, and he's going to slip it away because Skip Brock made the corner, and that's Forster.
Oh no! And he saves it again, or does he? Come on, Beans! He does. It's going to be costly, but at least he didn't drop to the back. Oh my goodness! Whoa! And look at this. He's just getting absolutely freight trained here on either side.
Yeah, that was big.
It's going to take him a little bit to get back up to speed. Yeah, that's just for his points, Chase. That's hugely problematic here.
Yeah, so coming down into roller coaster, it was the stack up on the inside, and he just ran into the back. At least he hit Fletcher square, but
good point.
He's not going to be able to really do a lot with the damaged nose on that car now. So he might make up a spot or three, but he's going to lose a lot of points to Rice Budo now because Rice Budo can still take away a podium position here and get some pretty decent points.
Wow. What an eventful race this has been for the points leader. And this is a classic example of never say quit. You know, he's just fighting with it here. And, you know, the way we saw, I'm really curious. Look at what, you know, this is what I was wondering about Morgan. I think he does not want to get into a situation where he has to race Hibbett hard. And I think his option is, well, I'm just going to try and drive away. But Hibbett's not going to play that game too comfortably, I don't think.
A little slip here from Skip Brock Jr. has got him right in the crosshairs of Rice Budo. Those front two are gone. They're going to be battling amongst themselves for the next lap and a half. And I think the battle for third will look a lot like the one for first.
I quite agree. I think Rice Budo, he got a pretty good run there. You can see he got through the entry to Oak Tree, turn 11, a little bit better than Brock did. And we still got a lap after this, but boy, it's getting interesting everywhere here.
Jeremy Fletcher's got a black flag for something. Not sure if it was incident count or what, but he is being scored as having a black flag. So we'll keep an eye on that. And for the lead, Hibbett setting up Morgan Burkhardt here, and we're coming to the white flag.
Yeah, working them down through the roller coaster, and here we go into Hog Pen, turn 17. Did you see just that little bit of a flat slide Morgan had through there? Just drifted it into that corner. Just gorgeous what he's doing.
Yeah, a little less conservative than Camden. Camden was pretty glued to the inside there. But here we go, last lap.
And boy, we got great battles everywhere. Rice Budo got through on Brock, but now Brock going to get a big shove from Soto. So what a story for some of our points contenders here, moving forward after starting in the back, and then for Beans moving forward and then getting literally getting backwards. And here we go! Hibbett establishing position on the inside. A lot of roll speed for Burkhardt, and he's going to be able to hang on here, but Hibbett now letting him know, I'm here and I'm coming.
That was a good shot. He didn't get the job done, though. He'll have to do it somewhere else.
Yep.
A little bit more battling back here. Fletcher again, still with that black flag. He's trying to fend off Wan Shi-Lin and Beans Forster. This is an opportunity for Beans to grab a spot or two. He'll get one from Fletcher with the black flag, but he could get another from Wan Shi.
I hope that for Fletcher that it wasn't because that, they think he short braked.
No, I think it's an automated one. It could be for the incident limit, but.
Yeah, that could be. Because he just had to check up abruptly. There's nothing he could really do. But anyway, back to this battle for the lead. Here we go. Last time through Oak Tree. It's all about the exit here. And rolling good exit speed. Boy, I'll tell you, Morgan got a nice run through there. Even it wasn't bad. And that may have been by design to not gum through it and be right on his back, because then you have to just, nothing you could do with that extra roll of speed here. And now here we go. Jumps to the inside. The battle for the lead is on, Kyle. Heading to one of the trickiest spots on this track. Hibbett has it, or does he? Side by side into the roller coaster.
Braking duel, they both win. Now it's a battle down the hill. Hibbett clears Burkhardt, but just, and it's going to be down to who gets through hog pen better, and it's going to be a draft race to the line.
And I think right there, Burkhardt said, normally Burkhardt would have
here we go.
done whatever he could. I mean, they're still going to go for it, but he was going to make darn sure that it was contact-free. And who is it? To the line. Burkhardt looks like he got it, but I have no idea.
Oh, boy. Let's let the timing sort. It's Burkhardt by 2 1/1000ths.
Oh, my God. Rice Puto grabs a absolutely critical third. Skip Brock doing a nice job up into fourth, and Soto fifth. Look at this.
Might be the closest finish we've ever had. We might have had a dead tie once.
Well, we had an 0-1, a .0001, I think, at some point. Look at that.
Man, that's incredible.
That's absurdly close. But I really think if this hadn't have been where Morgan is out of the championship and Hibbett's fighting for it, into the roller coaster, Morgan would have been way more aggressive.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And it might not even come down to that last run of the line there.
Exactly.
But credit to Camden Hibbett. He didn't shoulder him over or anything. He didn't battle him as hard as he probably could have. He just picked his line and stayed dead straight and raced how he wanted to be raced. He lost that, and it would have been really easy to fade over and prevent Morgan from carrying that run all the way to the checkers, but he didn't do that.
He didn't do that, and I wonder if he's just, thinking about the championship. He's got Rice Puto and all of the other guys behind him. Was this a matter of take what you got, don't risk drifting over into Morgan and then having some sort of an incident, and then maybe having Rice Puto come through? Who knows? We get to ask him that afterwards. How about that run by Jake Sned? I am so impressed with this guy coming up here and doing the job. And there you got to be gutted for Beans, who had done such a nice job. Yeah,
and we're still waiting for drivers to come across the stripe. And when that happens, we'll see where Jeremy Fletcher actually lands with that penalty. But Wan Shi-Lin, Jack Murchison, there we go. So he's going to get jumped down to 15th.
Oh, boy.
So time-based penalty, it looks like. So that will promote Wan Shi-Lin up to 10th place as the results go away, because it is transition time, Greg. What a battle that race was.
Holy cow. Yeah, and as we know, generally, it's the second of the races that gets a little bit more fierce. While we have a moment, as always, a massive thank you to Court Schmidt and the gang. And I have to say gang now at Full Send Sims, because honestly, the business is blowing up. And they are all over the place making sim runs. They've got new dealerships that are opening. It's just been wonderful to see. Court and Pops and Josh McCary are just class acts, and they deserve every bit of what's happening with them here. And of course, the reason is they make some of the finest sims you can imagine, all with the aim of improving real world racing as a tool. And that's why their slogan is practice makes podium. Also, to say a big thank you to Sabelt who came on board with us just a few races back. For over 5 decades, they have been known for quality and innovation through vigorous research and development for safety equipment inside a race car. So great to have them. FARA, as always, Jose de las Casas running with us here. And FARA provides the most accessible road racing series for spectators and competitors. It is so low cost on both ends to come out and run a FARA event. Please make sure you check into that. They've got one coming up in just a couple of weekends. And of course, our two long-time supporters right from the beginning, 3P Logistics. They do it all. Logistical support for you, your family, your car. Take care of everything in terms of logistics for a race event. And they're good friends with Rob Greenwood and Final Turn Motorsports, another top flight prep shop. They're a Miata tranny builder, and they do full-on driver development from licensing all the way to pro racing. And of course, Wine Country Motorsports, the racer's resource for helmets, suits, gloves, shoes, seats, harnesses, whatever it is you want, including full send sims. You can get them right there. And if you're looking for a place to get sawbelt, Wine Country Motorsports is a great place to do exactly that.
So just about 2.5 minutes left in the warm-up. What did we learn? I mean, the first half of that race, we were talking about how quiet and calm it was. The second half of that race, someone lit the fuse on that battle, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, it got absolutely stellar, especially, that battle behind those two up front. And, I think, we just had a couple of incidences where, somebody got, I think it was Hayden Manis got squirrely going into the roller coaster, and he saved it, but it wasn't, what am I trying to say here, an unsafe re-entry. He just was riding it out. And suddenly Fletcher had to check up big time. It caught out Beans, and that really disrupted some of the stuff at the front. But I got to tell you, one, it showed you can make some passes here. You've just got to work them right and get after it. And it doesn't hurt to be able to really draft with someone quick. So track temp's gone up by 10 degrees from the start of that first race, Kyle. So this could have a little bit of a dynamic. You may have to be a little bit more cautious with these tires.
Yeah, 98, that's up over 15 degrees from where we were in qualifying.
Yeah.
So that you'll feel that, especially there's a lot of high-speed corners here that are relatively flat that you're leaning on the tire compound for. So very easy to overheat them, slide them around in a way that is a disadvantage for you in the long run here. The other trouble spot, we saw turn 1 be a trouble spot. We saw this turn be a trouble spot, the run into turn 4, mostly because this exit of NASCAR, it's got this little bit of runoff that we just saw there in the green. And we saw that incident with the 110 of Giancarlo Scuderia. You see it there. The racing line takes you onto that. When you're side by side, though, drivers are running all the way out to the curb, and if there's anyone out there, that runoff runs out right there. You got to get back on the racetrack. So you have to remember to leave drivers space when they have to come back onto the road.
Yeah, exactly. And, the other part of it, too, is what I was talking about. It caught, like you said, Giancarlo Scuderia out there, and it was because the guy on the inside ran all the way to that curb. And if there's somebody on your outside, and I understand sometimes in sims it might be a little tougher to really see that, especially if you're running one monitor or something, but you've just sometimes got to assume that there's a guy out there. You don't have to make it easy, but you do have to make it possible for that person on the outside of you to stay on track. Yeah,
we also saw that Beans Forster was promoted up to 9th place in the tail end of that race. We saw the 03 of Rice Sputo grab 3rd, so the championship is going to swing back, or I guess more into the favor of Rice Sputo. So how aggressive, if you're Beans Forster, you're looking at the rounds remaining and they're dwindling, how aggressive do you get to try to make up some points tonight?
I think you got to get your elbows up. You don't want to absolutely lose touch with Rice Sputo here coming out of this round with only 2 to go. So I think in this next race, he's got to really get aggressive and force his way through and fight like hell and hope that Rice Sputo, starting up in 3rd, with Camden up there, with Burkhardt up there, that they get into some sort of serious scraps and maybe sees Rice Sputo and or Hibbett have a little bit of an issue. I think he can't just lay back now. He's got to go. And those last 2 rounds that we were mentioning, next week on April 8th, we're heading to Road America.
So that's a great place if you want to throw some some question marks out as to who's going to do well and who's going to have a tough time. You pile them all up at Road America. And then, of course, we finish off the season at one of my favorite places on the planet, Watkins Glen International. That's another place with those climbing S's, that can be a big trouble spot. We've seen big wrecks there in the past. And when you're trying to win a championship, that can be a make or break to get through those next 2 rounds.
I think you're exactly right on both counts, and both those tracks have a pretty good draft in, certainly Road America in multiple spots. So where you start a lap, completely different than where you might finish one. And, so there's all of that, all those variables. And so you don't want to wait, you don't want to, have left anything on the track here and then end up missing the championship by just a few points and knowing, if I would have done it better here at VIR, I could have been into this thing. So I think the guy that really has got to be elbows out here as we talk, Camden's going to fight like hell, because of where he sits. But I think Beans, with that last race, Beans just has to go for it. He just has to.
Yeah, I think for those reasons we mentioned, just your dwindling opportunities, and you got used up a little bit in this race, so you have to at some point take that risk. And we've seen him at times. I mean, think back to Road Atlanta, Greg, when he got kind of tangled up in an incident he didn't really need to by not backing out at turn 3. You can start looking back at other races this season and go, I could have done this, could have done that. But now you have to stop thinking what I could have done then and think, what can I do now? And it's go past a whole bunch of race cars. He's going to roll off 9th place.
No, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And, the other thing, too, is that, this year Beans has really upped his qualifying game. His average start has been 5.4. So, generally he's never worse than row 3 and does a nice job there. But he gets caught out a little bit sometimes. And you're right. He's, it's just time to go. Hibbett has no choice. He's got to go for the front, as does Soto and Brock. Those 2 guys, still mathematically in it. So, they're not going to make it easy. This is going to be just fascinating here, assuming all of the key players make it through the opening lap. I think it's going to be just a barn burner.
Starting lineup is on the left-hand side of the screen. It is exactly as the race 1 event completed, with the exception of the 15th place car, Jeremy Fletcher. He was dropped from 10th to 15th because of that late race time penalty, so he'll roll off in row numbers 8 on the inside. 15th place up Madison Avenue here. Drivers warming up their tires, getting set to go road racing again for another 20 minutes, 10 laps. The other thing that I noted is that Morgan made his move coming to the checker out of Hogpen, and he had plenty of time. I mean, granted, he just got there in the last 10 feet, but he wasn't really completely all over Camden. So, if you're Camden Hibbett rolls reverse, do you make that move on the backstretch, or do you just try to set up the exit? I think it seems risky to wait that long, but Morgan did it. I wouldn't call it easily, but he was there.
Yeah, and you wonder if Morgan was expecting Hibbett to come through and said, I'll take that, because then I can play off him at the bottom. These 2 guys, the way that they strategize. And a couple of guys, just outliers, just to keep an eye on here. Remember, Giancarlo Schooler was stupid fast, had those issues, but Olivier Piatet qualified 2nd. He'll be starting dead last. So we got some guys in the back that could come up and make this even more exciting. So here we go, down through the roller coaster, through Hogpen. Pace car will duck into the pits, and once again, Morgan Burkhardt will lead them to the line with Hibbett on his outside shoulder. Pace car is in, and here's this long, easy roll. Burkhardt easing ahead just a little bit. Let's see if Hibbett's going to get after it. And wow, it's just amazing how long this is as you try and set it up, but we're green! And it looks like Morgan timed it to perfection. Hibbett got caught a little napping, but just pops over behind Morgan. And look at Manis way up on the outside trying something. Oh, big lunge down the inside from Dylan Lee. What was that car that went airborne there? I didn't catch that. Was that Mueller?
Well, Greenfield is out. It was I think it was Fletcher also that was involved in that. He's managed to drive away, but has some damage on the front of his car. Go back and look at it a little later, but we're got a battle up front. Morgan Burkhardt, Hibbett, Skip Brock Jr., your top 3. Manis is side by side with Soto, a driver we saw near the front last time, but he only managed to grab P5 at the end. But now if he can just clear Manis, he can set his sights on the upper 4 and just try to stay in the podium group this time.
And he did it. How long will that last? Obviously. And Trace Hans, great start. He quietly worked his way up, and now he's got an opportunity side by side for the lead through the climbing S's. We talked about the challenge of doing this, and they've done it. Now what, though? Turn 10 side by side. Get out of town. Unbelievable here. And they're still not done. Hibbett has to go really wide. Still has a little overlap, and it's gone. And Brock right there in second. He must have been watching that going, what the heck? And then Rice-Puto still there in fourth.
That was cool, and he's going to try it again.
And here it comes again.
He's much more aggressive at the start this time than he was last, and Skip Brock Jr. realizes that he's going to drive up the bumper of the 132 and take him 3 across.
Oh, this should be absolutely incredible going in. Who's going to blink? Brock stuffs it down the inside. Burkhardt gets forced a little bit offline, manages to hang on to it. He's pinned outside, and here comes Hibbett up the inside. Burkhardt just slides back and gives it to him. And I think that is teammate Burkhardt, not competitor Burkhardt right there as far as Hibbett here. And no fight at that point. And then Rice-Puto behind him, Soto right there as well.
Really impressed with Skip Brock Jr.'s ability to get that car stopped. He was in so deep into roller coaster, but Hibbett's going to roll outside now. As soon as they get out of the lead, they start working together again. Funny how that works. And here comes Hibbett on the outside. That was tight.
Man, Morgan, it looked like the front end just pushed big time, and he almost got over into Hibbett, it looked like. That was spooky, at least for Hibbett. Now Hibbett going to go down the inside of Brock. Brock not giving him really much room. Both of them float off. Burkhardt's going to knife down inside Hibbett. Didn't have enough for Brock. But, you can use all of that track exit at NASCAR up, but when you exceed it, you just lose all your momentum going into right hook.
Yeah, I can't make a mistake in front of Morgan and expect him not to capitalize on it, so that didn't take very long. These guys are scrapping. I think Trace Hans has got a slowdown penalty. He'll have to give up a handful of positions, including to Manis and Beans Forster, who's up 2 spots from the start. Rice-Puto has landed himself in 4th. There he is. He was on the podium last race, dropped a couple spots at the start. He's getting right back on the horse here. Look at this run. Where do you go?
Oh, yeah. Great exit, but so what? It's like... I have seen people get that kind of run, but he was so close to the back of Hibbett. Again, he just had to kind of breathe out of it. Coming out of 10, if you're back a little bit and get that kind of run, you can surprise him, stuff it down the inside. No surprise here. Burkhardt trying to get up around the outside of Skip Brock. Who does Hibbett go with? The way that Brock got it woed down into the roller coaster last time, I wouldn't give up on going with him here. And again, he gets in really, really well. It's like he's doing something with the brakes to stomp on him and then get the car to rotate a little differently, but it's pretty effective.
Yeah, single file down through Hog Pen this time, and Burkhardt again in command of this race, but with a new player in trail. But Hibbett's found the inside lane. He's got 2 tires in the grass and does not want to give it up.
And Brock does not want to give him easy entrance back onto the track. Finally has to.
So we were
and Beans slowing down suddenly massively. Did he have a slowdown as well?
He must have. And again, that's going to be a bad one. Yeah. Let's see if we can figure out where it came from. It would probably have been somewhere coming down through roller coaster. You can get them here pretty easily if you cut to the inside, usually on the left. No, that was fair play. That was fair play. That one probably not so much. Yep, that was close, borderline. I don't know that I would have expected one there, but it was enough. And things have switched up here because here comes Rice-Puto on the back of Skip Brock, keeping Hibbett from getting by.
And again, we're talking right there, 3 key points players here. And Burkhardt out front, out of the championship now. And Hibbett has dropped back into 4th. Boy, that is not what he wants to see. And Brock's doing a great job. But it seems to me like you watch He's a bit more twitchy, isn't he?
Yeah, not as smooth.
Car's really dancing.
Not as smooth as the others around him, but he's making speed right now. The question is when the racecraft starts to get antsy towards the end, is he prepared to make some of the moves that the others have been making? He made that bold 3-wide pass on the start, so maybe here comes Rice Pudo with a shove for Skip Brock Jr. That'll make that pass easy.
Yeah, exactly. Nicely done. Rice Pudo will certainly take that here.
It's turned out to be a good night for the 0-3 because with the issues for Beans, he could really walk away here doubling his points lead.
Absolutely he could. And, you know, particularly after having had the qualifying he had and then ending up on a podium, as a result of some developments, but still was showing enough speed to be able to do that. Another great run by Jake Snedden, you know, sitting right there in 7th. Piatek up into 12th right now. Fabulous run for him.
Yeah, still a shame that he had that connectivity problem that took him out after starting on the front row of the first race, but I'd say P12 and still climbing. Whoop, and contact, and everybody spins.
Fletcher involved.
Not done yet.
Giancarlo Schooler again. Look at right front is broken there on the silver Mazda of Wanqi.
Well, that's not
silvery blue, I guess.
They're still spinning out over here, Fletcher.
Oh, that's Trace.
That was just a messy sequence of
Fletcher's
corners.
Broken. Wow, yeah, what a and it's broken this field. And look who might benefit, Beans.
Yeah, he needed that. but Beans needs to not. He can't. I mean, the top 5 isn't going to do it when Rice Pudo's running second. We talked about how much of a question mark is at Road America and Watkins Glen. So you really need to capitalize. You need to outperform Rice Pudo. So yeah, it's not a bad night. He can get top 5, but we have not seen the podium pace out of him this evening, and he's really going to have to outperform Nicholas at Road America and Watkins Glen to keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, now, of course, we're presuming that Nicholas finishes up where he does.
Exactly, yep.
And that is not a given here.
No, it is not.
Considering what can happen in the run through the roller coaster. But, yeah, you know, you got to get after it here. And right now, Beans is hoping that Dylan Lee is going to give him a little bit of a shove and get him up into this group and then do what he can. But here goes Rice Pudo on Brock for the lead. And I think for Rice Pudo, you know, he might be thinking safest place to be might be the lead, but then Brock just does his, man, he is an absolute dynamo on the brakes here. And back into it. I don't know how he's controlling that, Kyle, but it's brilliant.
Yeah, he's really been braking later than everybody into roller coaster. It bit him one time in the first race, but he managed to figure out what he did wrong there, maybe back it up 3 inches or however much he blew it by the first time. But he's just doing such a great job, and that's a great place to have an advantage because it's a defensive move that you can use.
Yeah.
We'll see what he's got into turn 1.
All right, he was protecting a little bit, and look at Hibbett while Brock was slowing down Rice Pudo and Burkhardt. Hibbett comes up to the outside, and if he can stay there, he's got position into NASCAR. Doesn't mean it's going to stick. Let's see what he does. Oh, look at Rice Pudo trying to square up underneath, and here comes Hibbett. Gets Rice Pudo offline, and diving back down comes Burkhardt trying to save it. Wow, that got interesting.
It did. Pedals a bit busy.
Soto on the outside shoulder there. Burkhardt has to fade. Oh!
That was Jake Snedden that got a little hip and shoulder from Manis there.
Yeah, well, he inadvertently gave it in the first race. Now he knows what it's like to get it.
And
look at this move here.
I think Hibbett's got a slowdown. He's dropped a few more spots.
Wow. Where did that happen?
Yeah, let's go back and take a look.
Ooh, Manis, that was close.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get, well, maybe it wouldn't have been there. It's easy to get in Snake, too. On the left? Oh, yeah, right there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I've done that a number of times.
It's got to be easy to do. Oop, little touch there with Soto. Or is that Soto?
It is Snedden.
Snedden. Sorry about that.
No harm, no foul. It's just like watching GR86s at Sonoma last week. That's how you tell there's been a little bit of contact as they fold in the wing mirrors before they actually make real contact. That happened a whole bunch last week.
Oh, Burkhardt trying to out deep him here. Not going to do that on Brock at this point. Feathering it down the hill. Love this shot here. You talked about it earlier. Josh Soto is having a really good run when he needs it as well.
Just watch the shift here. That right foot's not going to move. It's going to be left foot clutch in. Let the revs are going to build while he's got that clutch in, but it's so fast that it's not just going to hammer the limiter. Now, when we get down to the end of the straightaway here, while he goes battle for this lead, watch this brake pedal and watch the dance he's got to do.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
That's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, and keep in mind, folks, if you're not that familiar with heel and toe, as he's doing that, reaching over with his heel and blipping the throttle, he's still braking, and he can't keep braking at the same amount of pressure. So he's got to roll that brake foot back a little bit while he's blipping, and throwing in a pass or two. Look at that.
And on the
Brock's
outside,
not going quietly though.
Nope, and he couldn't quite complete it. Didn't have the grip on the outside to hold it. But Skip Brock Jr. is having a phenomenal race. This is a breakout performance to be battling with Burkhardt this successfully.
Yeah, this really is. This is just stellar. And that heel and toe, and then also with the gear shift and turning, that's what I call the motorsports ballet that is non-existent now in the modern cars, and just beautiful to watch it done that well. Ooh, exit at 10. God, I love that corner.
That's such a fun turn. It's really fun in downforce cars too, and you have a little bit more confidence, and you come over the crest and you land, and it just but onto the back stretch now. Long run up here. We're coming to, I think it'll be 4 to go next time by. We're on lap 6.
Hibbett is in 5th.
Yeah, not really gaining either. I mean, last time by, he had that conundrum, 3 seconds off pace. Here comes Burkhardt for the lead. Now Brock's got no help yet. There is help.
All right, Rice Puto's going to go after him. And, for Rice Puto, obviously he'd like to finish in front of all of the points contenders, but if there's any way that he can keep Burkhardt from winning and get there, he's going to do everything. Look at that opportunistic move by Soto. He went from 4th to 3rd and
didn't get him cleared.
Round him up.
Yeah, didn't get him cleared, so he had to leave space on the inside of Hawk Pen. That is a hard place to leave it. And so now they're both going to lose time to Burkhardt. Here comes Manis. We're going to go 3 wide for a second. Yes, of course.
And Dylan Lee off the track in the background. Look at this. Brock Soto and the 65 of Manis side by each.
Hey, they better sort this.
Who's going to blink here? Yeah, they better.
Because Burkhardt's already 1.1 clear. He's out of the draft now in 2 corners. So that was...
Yeah, this is silly.
Yeah. So just like that, they've lost it. So it's really going to be up to Soto to make up ground or have Burkhardt make a mistake or slow up. Because either way...
look at Brock!
And he
got a touch!
He got hip checked. Soto went to block that. Was too late.
Yep.
Yeah, they're giving up. They've given up 2 seconds since Hawk Pen, though.
Yeah.
Oh, and he gets turned.
Oh, man.
That'll be a
slowdown. Is that going to be a course cut?
Yeah. What is this?
Brock,
this is a mess.
They both got knocked.
Nobody wants to win this race. Look at this, Greg.
Look at this. Unbelievable. Look at Hayden Manis.
4 wide into the S's. No, you can't.
Puto, Brock trying to dive. Oh, and there goes.
Yep.
Beans almost got caught in that, too. Oh,
what a shame. What a waste of a race for Skip Brock.
Skip, that was absolutely spectacular. And then, you don't want to get caught up in something like that. So he comes back on.
So Soto gets turned, and then there was contact with Hibbett.
Yep. They both got crossed up, but Brock ends up off track, so he just comes on.
He does a nice job staying to the left here, but then they're 4 wide.
He does. And it's going to be Beans, I think. Watch Beans right there, moves over.
It's Manis and Rice Puto that I think got into them. But either way, that math wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
And it was too early, and now Morgan Burkhardt leads this race by 3.5 seconds, and they're battling for silver. So, lesson learned there.
Yeah, exactly. And guess who's in second? Hibbett.
Yep.
Comes out of that in strong stead. Hayden Manis, he's 7th in the points. He's out of the championship. That doesn't mean he doesn't want to, do whatever he can. He has put together a great season with 8 top 5s, and he'd love to add another one here. But the guy who's really got to get after it at this point is Rice Puto.
Yeah, and he's still leading Forster, but let's see if Rice Puto can do anything for second now. He's going to trip me up because I think we're looking at the lead, but Burkhardt's gone.
Yeah, Burkhardt is on his own island right now.
Yeah.
Manis is the guy that's going to be just driving these guys crazy.
Look at
look at him.
Burkhardt's got a fruity drink and nice burger on his island right now.
Exactly.
He's under an umbrella. Kick back.
I was just going to say that with an umbrella. Exactly. So Hibbett gets back through on Manis, and now Rice-Puto, Soto got to get after it. And you know, that moment for Skip Brock wasn't just the end of a absolutely phenomenal drive that could have been, like you said, a career one. Might just have been the end of his championship.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, all the way down in 18th place, he's going to lose another spot, actually 2 spots to Wan Chi Lin and Bob Mueller Jr., who are lapped down, but still on the racetrack. So, yeah, it just goes back to, you know, the battle there was unnecessary. It was probably fun for a second, but as soon as they realized they were 2 seconds back, I mean, they had probably already just figured that they had already lost Burkhardt and that it was just going to be a battle of the best of the rest. But I don't think they had lost him until they got to Snake, and then it was over.
I agree with you completely. Yeah, that was just absurd, you know. And like you said, that number of cars into corners was not going to work, especially through quickly changing S's. There's the margin. Burkhardt has umbrella, sunglasses, the whole deal. Soto diving to the inside of Rice-Puto.
Oh, that's gonna be
gets through on Manis, and is he going to hang on? Well, he might hang on. No, he's off track. That'll be a cut.
Yeah, he's got 2 cuts, I think, stacked. He's going to hold up this group now because he's got no way to serve it with cars behind him. So it's just a mess for Soto that time.
Yeah. And Rice-Puto got a nice, I was going to say, he got a nice little run on Manis. Now he gets it. I thought it was going to be a cleaner run on Manis. And Rice-Puto's been in the wars. Look at the nose on that car.
Yeah.
Manis still showing some speed.
Look at Ian Anderson in the 147. He was out early in the first race. He's back to 7th now. Well, I guess 19th wasn't all that bad. But
and just to make a little point here, Jake Snedden, our rookie, in only a second event, just took a look at Rice-Puto for 3rd.
Yeah, this is amazing. But he's got to defend from Manis, who's used him up a little bit on the exit of NASCAR bend.
Yeah.
And Dylan Lee, wasn't he way off the racetrack earlier? Whoop, little
he was
muzzle there. So he's rebounded to 6th, looking at a top 5 right ahead of him.
Yep, mad Hayden Manis, man. The guy is just. I mean, I'll tell you, he had a breakout qualifying at Mid-Ohio. I think he qualified 3rd. And we've always seen him with speed, and as soon as he can just put all of it together, the qualifying, the race speed, and the racecraft, he's going to be a serious player here.
Somebody's way off
there.
Even Rice-Puto had some tires in the grass there. But Rice-Puto is actually he's trying to keep touch with Hibbett because second's on the line here. If he could get second and Forster, you know, even if he does a top 5, still the points scale in such a way that it'll still be a huge win for Rice-Puto over Forster tonight.
And Hibbett, if he can get through, you know, because Hibbett is the other guy who's got a better than decent shot at the championship. So Rice-Puto here, he's got to find some magic on this last lap. I wonder if he was watching was he close enough? He was in 3rd to watch Burkhardt, what he did in that first race. And maybe that's his thought here, Kyle, is just get close enough that I could be all over him as we head into the roller coaster on that last lap.
Morgan Burkhardt is on the front straightaway, but you see the white flag waving for the 67. He is 5.6 seconds clear. There's the gap now.
Wow. And Rice-Puto's close. Close enough. There's that battle between Manis, Snedden. Snedden's popping to the outside.
Reminds me of the early days of SM when Burkhardt could drive away from the draft at Daytona. And Dylan Lee almost up and over, and Beans Forster's in it.
Oh no! And that looked like another 3 abreast scenario.
Yeah, that car's done. He's out of the race. Actually, it was Beans that got in too hot.
Yep.
And set the 2. So the Beans Forster's championship is slipping away. The idea that he could win it anyway. I mean, it's not completely out of the question, but that'll hurt badly.
And 2 races in a row.
Ignore the checker. This is because we had a reset from a front runner here. So I don't think we should still be Was that the checker?
No, I don't believe so.
We got the white just last time around. I don't know why I'm seeing a checker now. So there.
Me either.
I'm overriding the checker on the graphics, but that's odd, to say the least.
Because Morgan, unless he makes some massive mistake, has got this one in the bag. But the question is, where's Rice Pudo?
Yeah, 3/10 back.
Right there.
Be this battle coming up to the checkers here.
Yep, and then Manis, who's willing to mix it up here. Then Snedden. Then Soto, who was up a little bit more and has drifted back. It's not going to help him
Here
much.
we go. Here's
Here
Rice
he
Pudo.
goes. He got there. He got a great run through Oak Tree. And he did it with a little bit of a gap. You don't need a ton, but a little bit of a gap. And look at that, Hibbett. What a move by Camden Hibbett. Holy cow, he swung out at the last moment, got the angle. So now, can Rice Pudo pull a Burkhardt?
Better run.
I know, and he's got Hayden Manis is trying to do anything and everything he can. How did he do? Did he get out of there well enough? I don't think so. He's not close enough.
No, it's a long run to the line. I don't think he's there. Burkhardt will win easily. For second place, though, it'll be Hibbett over Rice Pudo at the stripe, and Rice Pudo never had a shot after the exit of Hog Pen. Wow.
Manis in fourth. Snedden, top 5 again. As I said at the end of Summit Point, welcome to SMX, Jake Snedden.
Yeah, beautifully done.
Yep. And I'll tell you, I really wonder there if that last lap, that last gasp attack by Rice Pudo, literally and figuratively blunted by the damage on the nose of the car.
I think that could absolutely be a part of it there. And see, for Snedden, not a scratch on it. That's the most, front bumper's got a little scratch, but
a little bit.
Otherwise.
Yeah, he just, he had a couple of side to sides, but no damage there. So, wow. So here we go. Burkhardt bringing out the broom again. Camden Hibbett really doing a nice job in terms of the points. Rice Pudo hanging tight. Manis, just as he always is, just fun. And then the really amazing Jake Snedden. Soto back in 6th. That's not going to help him.
No, it's not. Ian Anderson, nice job from 19th to 7th in that race. Michael Brock was also out early in race 1, so he rebounds to 8th in the 421. Dylan Lee, 9th place, despite getting sent for a ride earlier. Trace Hance had a slowdown but recovered to 10th place. Daniel Higgins, Les Chachik, another driver that was out in race 1. Deacon Greenfield, 13th. Deacon didn't have a great day today, just kind of quietly running back there. Then Beans Forster, this is the disaster night for him. 9th was fine in race 1, but 16th is bad news.
Gutting, absolutely gutting. And this could be the event that really cost him the championship. Skip Brock Jr., same story. After fighting for the lead and being able to be very much fighting for the lead with Morgan Burkhardt to end up 18th is just super unfortunate. Yeah,
Skylar Cottrell, Wan Shi Lin, we saw the awkward crash kind of over on the front straightaway that what ended in NASCAR bend. That took half a sector to finish. Jeremy Fletcher was involved in that one too. Olivier Piatek also out 2 races in a row. Not the return that he was looking for despite having excellent pace. And I see Jack Murchison, Court Schmidt also out in that one, Greg.
Yeah, Fletcher, was quick early, but had the problem. And Piatek, you mentioned excellent pace, qualified 2nd, and all for naught out in that first corner of the opening lap, and then had to scrape back big time.
Well, speaking of second, tonight, Morgan, it was Camden Hibbett that was second both races. In race 1, it was just by 2/1000ths of a second. Camden, race 2, the gap was a little bigger. Take us through your night. It got physical out there a couple times.
Yeah, the night was interesting. Kind of speechless. I don't really know where to begin with tonight. There was a lot going on. Congrats to Morgan on both race wins. Kind of got given to him on the second race there with, I think, 5 wide heading into the S's, but hey, he still drove away and drove a great race, so congrats to him. But yeah, that was interesting. I ended up getting in the back of Josh, which I think kind of started all of it in Snake in race 2. I expected him to go and he just never went, and then I don't know if we got stuck together or what, but I lifted and we kept together. So unfortunately he got sideways, and I think that kind of kicked off the whole mess heading down to the S's, but obviously not intentional. I think it was just a little bit of netcode, a little bit of misjudgment on my part. But yeah, tonight was lots of draft here. I didn't expect Morgan to get back around me coming to the checkered there in race 1. I thought I had it done once I got through roller coaster, and I don't know if I had bumper damage or what, but or if the draft was just that big, but he beat me by, I think, 2,000ths, 1,000, something like that.
Yeah,
so
2,000.
yeah, so no, all in all, fun racing tonight. Good points for me, I believe. Heading into Road America next week, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Should be a fun one with, I think, 2 or 3 races left to go. So points battle's coming down to it.
It is, and yeah, you did yourself no damage at all with all those runs to second. With and Nicholas, obviously, interesting night for him too. So you definitely closed up. I did want to say, after Summit Point, coming in here, and Morgan being mathematically out of the championship, your runs into roller coaster on that last lap and everything. I think in previous races, there would have been some banging going on, and it looked like he was the absolute perfect gentleman in both these races to make sure he didn't do anything other than race you hard but clean. And as a result, he's still tough to beat, but it was fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's the expectation between the two of us. I think, yes, we're teammates, but it's not by any means anything like F1 team orders.
Sure.
It's not like we're going to go race hard, but we try and keep it as clean as we can, When we're racing to the level that me and him do, at times you're going to have contact, and that's just racing.
Yep.
When you're racing at 110% on pace and you're racing a couple inches apart from the other driver, sometimes that code's going to happen. Sometimes mistakes are going to happen. Sometimes you're going to make contact, and that's just how this racing works. It's Miata racing at its core, So it's going to happen, and I don't think we didn't really talk about any change in policy after Summit Point. I don't know if he changed his driving style. To me, it didn't seem like it. I really don't think we had any issues at Summit either. I think we've had really, really good racing, and I think some of the best races I've had in my entire career have come in the sim racing with Morgan. So, I learn a ton from him, and being able to just follow him and be around him on the racetrack, I learn a lot. So, I would not change anything, and the policy's not going to change throughout the rest of the season. We're going to keep racing hard and try and keep it respectful, but if contact happens, and we're not going to change anything just because we have the same logo on the side of our cars.
Yeah. Well, and I get that, and I love your diplomacy, and I think that the latter statement you meant about you guys are you're racing hard. You learn a lot from him. I think he learns a little bit from you, and you're always going to push. But I did think, for what it's worth, at Summit, knowing you were in the championship and he was just up, borderline, it got a little aggressive for my view. But the racing tonight was just fabulous, and like you said, especially the second race, when everybody's going like that through the S's, there's no way Morgan's not just going to say thank you and check out. But are you going to make the final 2 rounds at Road America?
I will be here. I will be here. Right. So championship fight is on at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, buddy.
I didn't know if I was going to make the full season, so I was kind of just focusing on wins. Past 2 weeks is when I finally guaranteed or basically found out that I was definitely going to make the last 2. So the points battle's on, coming for the championship this season once again, and I think definitely have a shot at it going into the final 2 rounds.
Great. So happy to hear that, man. Can't wait to watch him with you.
I appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next week.
See ya. All right, that was Camden Hibbett, who finished second tonight. One of the drivers that grabbed a third place was Nicholas Rice-Puto. And Nicholas, you're in a championship battle. Started third, finished third, so 2 podiums on the night. And your championship rival, the closest rival at least, Beans Forster, had some trouble. So Camden gained some ground, Beans lost some ground. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. It was sad to see that battle come to an end in the second race, going up through the S's. I thought Skip on my left after he cut like half the track. I thought he had to slow down, so that's the only reason I stuck my nose in there. I was like, he's gonna pull to the left and hit the brakes, and he never did. And then we went 4 wide up the S's, and evidently it didn't work. So, but it was a lot of fun. Each race was fun. Going from 11th to 3rd in the first race was a great drive. It was a lot of fun.
That was not only a great drive, Nick, it was a hugely necessary drive. And when you needed it, you made it happen. Yeah, that was super impressive. And I agree with you. You know, we were expecting to see that's Skip Brock after the ride he had that there was going to be a slowdown. And I think your logic there is making absolute sense.
Yeah,
taking a look at the video here.
I was looking at the video here, but I thought Soto had to slow down too. I was like, all right, they're just gonna peel back, and they never did. So it's unfortunate because me and Skip were having a good race. We were working together up front. So
yeah, but I'll tell you what, Skip's race with Morgan for a while there. It's just a shame where he finished. You got to watch some of it. That was possibly, for a sim drive, that was a career drive.
Yeah, I was trying to help him as much as I could. I kept giving him some bumps here and there, so I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him do well. So.
Yeah, and again, obviously, with Morgan stealing the winning points for each race, and Hibbett, takes the sting out a little bit because it's not Hibbett winning with you in 3rd. So, but this point championship, man, it's going to be close going to the final 2 rounds, isn't it?
Let's just say I like it when Morgan comes and just steals all the winning points. I don't mind him driving. He can drive every week for all I care.
Yep. Hey, that's part of the plan here. And, you've got to, think about that. The other thing I want to ask you, because, you were racing with him a bit tonight. How about this I don't know if he's young or not, but this newbie to us, starting with Summit Point, Jake Snedden, man, that guy is quick.
Yeah, I got to race around a bit with him at Summit Point, I think, and he's got some good racecraft quick, so I'm sure he'll learn the car and be right up here with the rest of us.
Yeah, I love the fact that this sort of feeder series concept of doing SM and showing what you can do and moving up, we're already getting a couple of quick guys there. And Nick, can't wait to see how this championship unfolds, and can't wait to see your races. And good Lord, Road America and the Glen to finish up. Have fun, man.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Thank you, guys. Can't wait to watch this one.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, let's chat with Morgan Burkhardt now, race winner. Both races tonight came down to the wire at the tail end of race 1, Morgan, right at the end. Just nabbed Camden by 0.02 of a second. Race 2, though, drove off into the sunset. We joked that you're on an island of your own and you had a fruity drink and some sunglasses under an umbrella because 7.2 seconds, that's a gap like we haven't seen in some time.
Yeah, no, the umbrella was real shady. I think the Caribbean treated me well in race 2, but race 1 was definitely a nail biter. And with Camden being so tight in the championship, I don't want to race him real hard. I don't want to I'm not gonna roll over for it. And I've talked with him about this, and our whole little quote unquote technical alliance with the PRG stuff. I'm not gonna make it easy for him. I'm not gonna roll over for you, but you're gonna have to work for it, right? I'm not gonna drive you off the racetrack. I'm not going to do anything like that. Netcode is netcode and can't really do much about that, but I'm not going to roll over. So and we had a really good scrap to the end. I realized pretty early on that I was getting a really, really good run through Hogpen, so I wanted to keep him close enough to me that he could get pretty much most of the way by before the roller coaster, and then be able to slide in behind him, park up a little bit entering Hogpen, and then roll as fast as I could through the middle, and ended up beating him by nothing at the line, a strip of vinyl at the line, and that was incredible. Yeah, absolutely nothing. I don't think I've ever had something that close before.
Well, I got to ask you, your run, you were talking about your runs through Hogpen, and I use a term every once in a while called floating speed, and it looked to me like that's exactly what you were doing. As you turn in, you just carry this tiny but super effective drift all the way through there, and you just would come out of that turn with so much roll speed. It was really a thing of beauty to watch, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate that, and it's the same thing in Oak Tree as well. I have so many laps at this track, and really picked up a lot of the nuances of the corners. And Hog Pen is one of those corners where there's a massive compression at the bottom of the hill, and it's all about staging the corner so that you can have the car in the right trajectory to get into that compression and be flat out, and it just drags the car and points it where you need to go. So with the elevation changes there, if you drag the brakes over the crest of the hill just hard enough and kind of turn in, the car will pitch a little bit, and it gives you an extra 10-15 degrees of rotation by the time you're getting to that compression, and you don't even have to turn the wheel anymore. So it's right out, huh? Wow. Exactly. And if like I've looked at data as well, and my min speed's not any different than anybody else's. I might roll like an extra half a mile an hour. It's negligible, the extra speed that you get. But since I have so much less wheel by the time we're getting to throttle, I get an extra 2 miles an hour by the time we're leaving the corner. And it takes the entire straight for that to even out. So it's all just in that little phase of middle to exit. And then same thing in Oak Tree, where you downshift a little bit extra in the middle, gets the car to pitch and rotate, and then you can commit to power. So you sacrifice a little bit of the mid-corner speed, but you're to throttle so early. And it's tricks of the trade, I guess, from a lot of laps at this track.
Well, and that that all makes sense. Now, were you on that first race? Were you hoping you could lead into roller coaster, or were you hoping that Camden would go by you?
I was planning that Camden was going to go by, because I knew that if I'm in the lead coming out of Oak or Hog Pen, I hadn't seen him close enough to me to really get a judge on just how much the speed differential was going to be. So I made the decision to go with what I know and what I have a better probability of, and that was having him lead going through Oak Tree and then slot in behind him and use the draft. It's always much easier to use the draft than it is to be the chicken out front. So that was kind of the plan, and it was close. It was really close, but Camden did a great job, and I have to check on the points, but I think it's tightening up quite a lot. I think Beans had a rough one. Beans had a really rough one today, but I'm excited to see how the next 2 rounds go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be super close as we get into the final 2 rounds. 2 questions. One, are you going to be at both of the final 2 rounds? And the other question is, how much were you grinning when you recognized that battle was 4 wide through the S's and you were given the free ride?
Short story. I'd love to be back for the next 2 rounds, but Long Beach next weekend, and then I'm going to be in Putnam Park the following weekend. Okay. So we'll have to find a sim, and it was incredible to see that again. It's been a long time since that's been a possibility, and it was nice to kind of just drive off into the sunset. It was lovely.
Yeah, I bet it was, and I guess VIR is close enough to Summit Point that you could bring the same broom. Well done.
Exactly. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Morgan. Appreciate your time. Have a good night.
Thank you. You guys too.
All right, Greg, wrapping things up here from VIR. Fun night, but we get to go to some great racetracks on the horizon. Next up is one of my favorite tracks, sort of you could call it a local track to me here in Chicago. We head to Road America, the National Park of Speed. I'm so excited.
The Jurassic Park of Speed.
Oh, I suppose I have to use my own term. Yeah, that is true.
Yes, you do.
So that's where we're headed next week, and I cannot wait.
No, me either. I mean, that's really home to me. And you call it the Jurassic Park, I call it the America's Nürburgring. Either way, it's just a glorious place, and that's where the next round will be. We thanked our sponsors, but I do just want to remind everybody that the prizes for this season, if you're in 3rd place, and of those qualified, and remember, if you're an administrator or an instructor or whatever, there are some that won't be eligible for it. But if you're an administrator, or if you're qualified in 3rd place in the points, you get a speed-sensitive wind simulation. If you're 2nd, you get a butt kicker gamer plus. And the 1st place this is ridiculous. This is a 4-digit cost piece of hardware, the ProSim H pattern shifter. So lots for people to be racing for, let alone the championship, which, as we've heard the competitors say, will be closing up heading into our final 2 rounds for Kyle. And again, a huge thanks to Finian DeCuna for the great work he does on the cameras. I'm Greg Creamer. Thank you so much for joining us here at round 13 from VIR. We'll see you next Tuesday night from America's National Park Speed, Road America.